Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're doing Rainbow Islands, the story of Bubble Bobble 2. Now I do love Bubble Bobble. Oh, I actually do know of this game. I've never actually played it, but I do know of it. I think I watched something about it a while back. It is a very interesting concept with the rainbows. I prefer the bubbles by far. But it's kind of cool that you could trap them in between the things. It's not necessarily overly difficult to target anything. You pretty much get the way the arc works. Rather than having a stage where you where you're just playing on one specific thing, this one actually has you climbing instead of just having like the arena, so to speak. It's a lot simpler at the moment. It's definitely not as much fun as Bubble Bobble is. I'm not going to go after that. There's just no real reason to. Alright, fair enough. So some of the enemies will like sit there and actually kind of hover on you, it looks like. Alright, I guess we can collect the stuff here this time around then. It appears like occasionally, at least when you do your rainbow, it spawns another item for you. That is kind of cool that you can kind of make yourself a stairs. I mean, it's like it's a simpler version of the bubbles where you used to build the stream of bubbles and bounce on them. This is it's just a lot more of a basic game than Bubble Bobble was. And so far, not a whole lot is changing. Like, it's still fun. Like, you know, in regards to Bubble Bobble-esque. But all in all, it seems a lot more basic and not quite as challenging or puzzling. It seems like right now, I mean, we're still in World 1, but it's still kind of... And occasionally, I think it's going to be a bit of a nuisance with like this when you're trying to get things done. But all in all, it seems like it's a whole lot of the same. I mean, they have been changing up, obviously, like I would hope so, the level design to a point. But all in all, it's... For as much as they change it, it's really not doing a whole lot. Like, Bubble Bobble, you know, their whole levels, I mean, they drew things, and like everyone was a new shape and new designs, and there was just a lot going on. This one is a whole lot of the same, where we're just kind of, you know, doing... I mean, there are nuances to using that I keep learning new things on. As far as things getting hit and dying anyways once your rainbows vanish. You can go back down, it looks like, so that's a bonus. You're not going to die if you fall. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you could definitely tell it is part of the Bubble Bobble universe. I just find it so far a lot more basic. It's fun for like everybody. I think there's less of the puzzling, challenging aspect of it so far. Like Bubble Bobble, yeah, you started off pretty basic, but it got pretty challenging pretty quickly as far as the way enemies were and the levels. Here, it's, you know, we're still just climbing, regardless of what the backdrop is. It's still just one platform after another. It kind of feels kind of like Kid Icarus. It's like Bubble Bobble and Kid Icarus kind of combined. Is a lot of what it feels like, to be honest. Because most of Kid Icarus, as far as other than the dungeon aspects of it, was you climbing up various, you know, platforms like this. And yeah, it's like I said, it's actually nice that you don't die when you fall, like Kid Icarus, where you actually have to be more precise. I don't see any time limit. Okay, cool. We do have a boss. Ah. Alright, so the initial attack. Attack, Spidey! Alright. I do like that they have a boss. That definitely is, it looks like you kind of become invincible on your, rainbow. Ah. The unfortunate part is your dude is so slow that, there's no dashing or moving. Again, I want to test... Yeah, like, you are actually invincible on your, maybe? It felt like I was invincible while I was on the bridge. But then I died, so I wonder if I was in between or what. See, this is, again, where it becomes almost a nuisance more than a help, is the fact that once you put your things down, you climb on them, so you wind up getting trapped by your own... See, that, I think, is a bit of an issue for me. Alright, well, we can continue here, so we can kind of work on it. But yeah, it's like... So you got to really pay attention to... And then I was moving this way and he still had me go up the ramp. And see, that, I don't like that. I think that's where, like, the bubbles are so much better than the rainbow thing. I get that there's a lot of things you can do with the rainbow, but once they're out... it kind of screws you, and it kind of is unpleasant. So like now you're dealing with that, and trying to get everything to work with you. It's almost like they... Alright, so we got there. It definitely does add a very unique thing on the game itself. So let's see if World 2 changes anything around, or if we're going to be doing a lot of the same. I mean, different characters. We got tanks and everything, but all in all, it's still... Well, they do shoot, so I mean, we got a little bit of that, but all in all, it's just more of the same. And I think in that aspect, this game falls pretty short. I feel like this game falls a lot short of its predecessor of Bubble Bobble, to be honest. It's a little more repetitive. There's not as much change and uniqueness. Whoa. I mean, it is a novelty. I think that's more so is what it is a novelty of Bubble Bobble, more so than anything else. Like, you're like, oh, it's Bubble Bobble, and it has that kind of, you know, the Bubble Bobble feel to it. And enjoyment of it to a point, but when you start playing it, you realize that it's not really up to the standards that it should be. It's definitely a good game for younger people. You know, stuff like that where it's a lot easier. It's a lot more basic for the most part, but it's really not as good quality of a game as Bubble Bobble is. And I think a little bit of playing it, you start seeing and just you kind of start losing its luster after a minute, because again, nothing has changed. We're on World 2 and nothing has changed at all. Other than enemies, the occasional power-up, which you also had there. Other than that, I mean, we're doing the same thing over and over with any changes. At least Bubble Bobble's levels changed a lot with a lot of different you know, hazards and you know, puzzling aspects where you had to try to figure out a way to drop down onto some of the enemies with the block in the way, and you know, this and that. This, you just climb. You climb, you push the button, you climb, you push the button. I mean, other than the very beginning of this, we haven't really had to worry about this is the first time that we've actually had a kind of a well, that was actually kind of a Bubble Bobble-esque, where you actually had to jump and shoot your thing at the same time. Because for whatever reason, when we touch our bubbles now, they drop. So I don't understand what's causing that. Okay, there we go. We finally kind of getting to a little bit different. And it died. It actually did the exact Bubble Bobble enemy death animation too. But all in all, you know, it's fun, it's playable, everything responds well, it plays well, you know, it's colorful. it's you know, it's playful. It's great for pretty much everybody kind of thing. But it lacks in nah. All right, we are having a bit of a. There we go. Before we had a hard time not jumping on our rainbows. Now we have a hard time jumping on our rainbows. It's kind of silly. All right, we are finally getting a slight variance on the level design, and it's not all of the same. Alright, so we are getting into where we gotta really okay, that's what I'm doing wrong. Alright. You're not supposed to jump, you're supposed to walk. Alright. So that's what I was doing wrong. Again, I think I'm so like ingrained in the aspects of Bubble Bobble that I'm so used to that one seems so much easier. I do like the boss aspect. That I definitely enjoy in the game. Like, there's nothing really negative to say about it. Like, there's nothing at all wrong with the game. It is a fun, playful game that you could sit and just start playing and not pay attention to time or anything and get lost in. And once you really figure out the rainbow thing, again, like I was so ingrained in in the fact that I felt like I had to jump on it. You can't jump on your rainbows. You have to walk on them. So once you get that down, I still kind of feel like I'm going to find myself trying to jump on them again, because that's what we do. But I think that once you do that, it kind of starts taking... I actually starting to feel like it's taking more and more out of the game. How, I mean, if you watched how actually basic that was to do... That, and they're very nice at you to give you extra men up the wazoo. Like, we keep getting extra guys. And we're already back up to 5. Messed that one up. But all in all, I mean, it is a good game. It definitely differentiates itself enough away from the original, but also maintaining a lot of what made Bubble Bobble Bubble Bobble. The power-ups, at least as far as your rainbows go, do stay with you until death. They're not a time thing. Now we just got to be paying attention a little bit, but we were pretty much finishing up here. But all in all, like, honestly, if you're a fan of Bubble Bobble, I say give it a go. Have some fun with it. I think you'll see enough of the original game in it to, like, you know, kind of bring in that nostalgia, but enough things that actually still make it unique. The challenge really isn't there, like, in all honesty, as it was in Bubble Bobble. Like, yeah, we died here twice, but we weren't really doing a whole lot. We were just kind of screwing around, and I'm just was chatting. But I mean, all in all, for the most part, it's not a difficult game, and there's not enough in it to really, so far, I mean, we're 3 worlds in, and not enough has changed to really, to do a whole lot. I mean, they're adding some stuff. I'm happy to see the enemies making things a little more difficult now. We got lightning bolts coming down. We got kind of like, oh, I saw that coming too late. They feel like the I feel like there's a lot of Kid Icarus kind of ingrained in this game to a point. A couple of things is a little bit of the enemy design to a point. Like this guy that's shooting the lightning bolts feels like the Grim Reaper to a point. Like, maybe it's just me, but I really kind of, he feels Grim Reaper-ish to me. We slid down our rainbow we didn't want to and got caught up in stuff. Alright, well that is going to be it for today. A really fairly fun and entertaining game. Like, it is a lot more basic than its predecessors. It does have the unique rainbow aspect of it that does take a little bit to get used to, and is a hindrance more so than a help in some boss battles, it looks like, until you really get the hang of everything. But with that being said, you know, it is fun. The controls are well done. The level design is fun. I mean, they're changing a lot to it. It's not just a little bit of a paint job. They really went in and made every one of them different. But unfortunately, it still has the basic, you know, this level, this level, this level. And they're finally starting to add in some stuff. So I think later on, I think the levels might get pretty interesting. I wish they updated and, not updated, upgraded the difficulty earlier on. I think waiting for like 3.5 worlds, so to speak, is a little long to start actually making things a little more difficult. Because at first, like, it is so basic and boring that you honestly start losing interest in it a little bit. I kept pushing through to get to this kind of stuff that actually has the level design and gameplay starting to become a little more difficult, where we actually do have the worry about actually dying. The first 2.5 worlds, there is absolutely zero worry about actually dying in the actual level, and more so just in a little bit of the boss stuff until you understand your rainbows. After that, I think we can blow through and get all the way up to World 3 without dying once. Not a problem. And once you really kind of start paying more attention, I was just kind of half-assing it, to be honest. But it did start upping the difficulty. I mean, there is a lot of stuff that you have to, you know, take into account now with the fire, with a lot of the way the enemies are doing. They did ramp it up, which is really nice. But all in all, it is a good game. It is enough of its own game to just be a standalone, but a lot of nuances of its predecessor, as well as, like I said, I really feel like there's a little bit of Kid Icarus in this game. It could just be me, just my fondness for it. I see things from it in other games, and I feel like this one did it a little bit. But all in all, it is a really well done game. It is a fun game. It is a pretty unique game in and of itself, and definitely worth the play. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining. Till next time, you have a great day.